What's going on, everyone? So yesterday was a rough day. The Lakers had their destiny in their hands, and it was stripped away by the Clippers. Clippers got the job done in the Battle of LA, the battle for the 5th seed. The Lakers just looked flat. They look like a team that has played 5 games in 8 days, team that was tired, and the Clippers looked like a team that was rested, came out and got the job done. It's no excuse. There is no excuse for the performance, especially in that first half, and the Lakers really dropped the ball. But it's not all lost. And many people, didn't want the Suns in the first round anyway. I personally was all for it. Give us all the smoke. We don't duck anybody. I think we match up against the Suns just fine. And I think that we had an opportunity to win that series if it was to come to light. Now we have to just keep tacking away. We still have 2 more games, very important games, against the Phoenix Suns and then the Utah Jazz, which the Jazz game, we saw how that went. It would have been nice if we got this win and then maybe you had a couple things fall your way and we could have rested for that Jazz game. But nonetheless, now all hands on deck the rest of the way. Everyone should be healthy. Everyone should be ready to go as we make this push. We got to get these wins. We still have a real opportunity for the 6th seed. Problem is it's not in our control. The beauty was before the Clippers loss, everything was in our control. Win outright, you're the 5th seed. Now, you have to rely on teams to just take an L and hopefully a couple of those L's end up happening. And it's going to start with the teams that are in our little box, right? So the Clippers, no matter what happens the rest of the way, the Clippers are going to end up with the 5th seed. So the Clippers are pretty much locked in. I believe the Warriors can pass them, obviously, and maybe the Clippers do go that route. Maybe they do take the L so the Warriors could take them and take the Suns, but very likely it's looking like the Clippers are going to get the 5th seed, which they match up a lot better to the Phoenix Suns as far as just personnel goes, right? I mean, they have Kawhi that can guard, your Kevin Durant. You have Paul George if he ends up playing, which he's supposed to be reevaluated next week. He could end up guarding Devin Booker. But even then, they have several bodies of just 3-and-D wings that they could throw at the various players and try to wear them down over a 7-game series. It would be a fun matchup. So would the Warriors, right? But now, Lakers don't have a way to get that 5th seed. It's just not going to happen. Even if we finish tied with the Clippers would get the nod and we would be in trouble. The Clippers would have to lose basically every game the rest of the way, end up with 40 losses, and we would have to end up finishing where we're at with only the 39 losses. But I don't see that happening for the Clippers. We'll see. Again, it's not in our control. Pelicans are right on our tail. 41-39. And then the Warriors, we need the Warriors to lose a game. And that may be easier said than done. And the Timberwolves, they're right there. And the Timberwolves have the tiebreaker over the Lakers. So we have to win our next 2 games. Because if we lose a game and we finish tied with the Timberwolves, then they end up passing us. And it could end up happening that the Lakers could actually drop to the 9th seed, which that's not what you want to do, right? Imagine playing the Thunder or even worse, the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks have been a bit of a mess, but still have Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, right? And especially in just one game where, Kyrie could go off, Luka could go off. It just don't want to be in that position. If you could still get the playoff spot, you want to get the playoff spot. If you could get the 6th seed, you want to go get the 6th seed. But again, things have to fall in our way. And if you look at the Warriors, right, these are the last 2 games for the Warriors. The Blazers, they very likely are going to run through, though the Blazers have surprised a couple teams, right? I mean, they did just beat Minnesota on the road, and the game is in Portland. So you never know. Maybe you get some lucky break. Maybe something crazy happens and the Trailblazers walk away with a win. But realistically, that's probably not going to happen, right? That's probably something that we don't see end up happening more times than not. You'd imagine that the Warriors get the win. So let's write that off as a win. Sacramento Kings. The Kings are going to be massive and key for us because we need the Kings to play their guys, right? So right now, the Kings are 2 games behind the Grizzlies. Both teams are coming off of 1 loss. And it would have been nice if the Kings won and the Grizzlies lost, because then all of a sudden, Kings really have a real shot. Where the Grizzlies, they had the win, it was looking like it was good, and then they ended up blowing it, or down 6 late with like 11 seconds left. Then they tied and sent it into overtime, and then they just got ran through in overtime. Where Kings played guys, lost the game, although they may end up saying, hey, let's go try to get this win, right? Last game at home, light the beam. They're a young team that has stuff to prove, that want to win as many games as possible and do the impossible. They could easily finish at 50-32, and the Grizzlies could finish at 50 and 32 as well. And then maybe the Kings get the nod. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But there's not a ton of incentive for the Sacramento Kings to make that push. We need to hope that the Kings end up playing guys, because I don't see Portland beating the Warriors. You never know, any given night, but realistically, the Kings are our one chance. The Warriors are absolutely terrible on the road. If the Kings play all of their guys, there's a real chance that the Kings could win. Or even if they don't play everybody, even if they just play, let's say they sit Sabonis, right? I still think the Kings could probably win that game. Especially on the road. Again, Warriors have been terrible on the road this year, and that's kind of my hope as far as the Blazers go. Maybe the Warriors have been so bad this year, right? They've been like the 3rd, 4th worst team in the league on the road. Maybe you get one of these, but again, it just sucks that it's not in our control. We're banking on one of these two teams that don't really have an incentive, a major incentive to win. Blazers, they would like to get assets and draft picks and add to their core that they already have. And then the Sacramento Kings, they're very likely locked into the 3 seed. So it's rough. But if they lose and we win our 2 games, the Lakers would finish as the 6 seed. So that's the hope. But if you look at the Pelicans, we need a Pelicans loss as well, right? Now, Knicks are a team that they're pretty much locked in to the 5th seed, or they are locked into the 5th seed. So you're already seeing them, like yesterday's game, they didn't play any of their stars, any of their guys. They still got the win, and they are on a 5-game winning streak. And the Knicks look good. They had 3 guys that put up 30 points. So maybe the Pelicans drop that game. That would be very nice, right? That would be extremely helpful if the Pelicans could take that L. That would be huge. But in reality, Pelicans, they have a lot to play for. They probably get that win. The Timberwolves game is the game that I'm banking on. Both of those teams need to win that game. Both of those teams need to win that game badly. And that could be the difference between the Timberwolves getting into that, 7, 8 spot, or them, maybe potentially dropping to that 10th spot or 10th spot, stay in the 9-10, right? If they beat the Pelicans and they hand the Pelicans their 40th loss and the Timberwolves have their 40th loss, they could get the nod, get into the 8th seed, and then they only have to win 1 game as opposed to 2. So the Timberwolves game is going to be very important and very significant. Problem is, if the Lakers lose another game, this could be a disaster for us, because we could drop from 7th to 9th, depending on how that game shapes up, because if the Pelicans win, the Lakers would be good. The Lakers would drop to the 8th seed. But if the Pelicans lose, then the Lakers would drop to the 9th seed, because the Pelicans would end up, assuming they beat the Knicks, right? So say the Pelicans beat the Knicks, and they finish the year with 39 losses, and we lose and finish the year with 40 losses, we actually would drop to the 9th seed, because the Timberwolves have the tiebreaker over us. This could be huge, which is why we have to beat the Suns, and we have to beat the Jazz, right? Win those 2 games. Hope the Timberwolves beat the Pelicans. Maybe we get lucky and the Knicks beat the Pelicans. It's a possibility, but that would be nice. And then lastly, you have the Timberwolves. I just want to briefly talk about them just because, again, they are right there. They're only a game behind us, which is good as long as we win our last 2 games. If we win our last 2 games, we don't have to worry about the Timberwolves. Timberwolves have what should be a gimme game against the Spurs. Although they had a gimme game against the Portland Trailblazers, and the Blazers beat them in Minnesota. So they're playing at San Antonio. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup, but the Timberwolves should very likely win that game, and then again, the Pelicans game. Regardless, end of the day, we have to play the Phoenix Suns. Now, the Phoenix Suns are locked in to that 4 seed. I don't see them relinquishing that 4 seed. So for them, do they just say, hey, let's just sit everybody? You know, because they have the series matchup, so they'd have the tiebreaker. They're good. They're basically locked into the 4 seed. Now, if the Lakers had won against the Clippers, there was a real argument for Phoenix to play their guys, right? Because you could still knock the Lakers down, where if now there is no way that the Lakers can catch the Clippers. They're going to play the Clippers or the Warriors. That's that. There is no incentive in beating the Lakers. Where earlier, if the Lakers won and they got the 5th seed, there is an incentive to beat the Lakers because then you don't have to play them in the first round. Now, no matter what happens, they're very likely playing the Clippers or the Warriors. And if the Warriors lose, then they would play the Clippers. If the Clippers and Warriors finish with the same record, then they'd play the Clippers. So the Clippers have the advantage. Very likely the Suns are going to play the Clippers. The Clippers, again, match up to them really well. Does Phoenix want to run the risk of somebody getting hurt to win a game that means nothing to Phoenix? If they win, it means nothing. If they lose, it means nothing. It doesn't change anything in that game. So, hopefully they sit guys and we can get that win and then play the Jazz and beat that team, and then all is right in the world, right? Let the cards fall where they may. Warriors lose. Great, we're the 6th seed. Warriors don't. We finish as the 7th seed. We have 2 chances to win 1 game, and we would be at home for all of those games. That's what we need to do, right? You get 2 home games and 2 opportunities to get into the playoffs, but ideally you want to get the 6th seed. So, again, don't like having to let other things and other teams' outcomes and worrying about other teams and what they do. But that's the scenario we're in. That's the situation that we're in. The control is out of the Lakers' hands, and that hurts, right? Lakers very likely are going to end up playing the Pelicans. It's going to be a Pelican-Laker first-round matchup. Hopefully you get the 7th seed. Again, very possible to still get the 6th seed. But you're counting on other teams. Lakers win both games, more likely than not, as of right now, as it stands, they would play the Pelicans in the first play-in game, which I believe we should win that game. I do. I think we have more talent. I think we're better. Though Zion could be back, but even them with Zion, I still think the Lakers fully healthy are a better team. There is always the chance, though, team just gets hot. I mean, we've seen it on several occasions this year against the Lakers. Teams just shooting the lights out. So it's a bit of a concern. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. So pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think of the situation the Lakers are in? Do you want them to get the 6th seed? Do you want them to get the 7th seed? Do you think the Warriors will lose a game? And do you think we'll win the last 2? Do you think the Suns will sit, guys? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.